Welcome back for week 3 of Simisage Goes Bananas. This is the third and last week in which we're going to use this team, which means that we actually have a new team coming next week, and I'm looking forward to your suggestions of what mon you want to see me use next. So if you have a suggestion, leave them down below. It can be as simple as just the name of the mon, or if you want to go the extra mile, leave the set exported from Pokemon Showdown and I'll use it the way you suggested to me. If your mon wasn't picked last time, then feel free to leave a suggestion once again, and perhaps this time you're a bit more lucky. Having that out of the way, we're going to look over the team really quickly before we head into the battle. And you know this team by now, so I'm gonna go over it really quickly. First off is my Life Orb Bananas. It's a Simisage, of course, with nasty plot. My defensive mon is Big Mac, my Pelipper, with Defog and Scald support. Spoon is my special attacker with Calm Mind and a Focus Sash, so he's probably a late game sweeper if he gets the chance. If I need some physical offensive, I'm going to go into the Drio with the Choice Band, and my specially defensive Macargo is named Hot Stuff with Stealth Rocks, so he is my lead most of the time. And last but not least, my physical defensive Ponyard with Evilite, and has the opportunity to set up with Sword Dance. So that's the team in a record time, I think, and today we actually have 2 matches instead of 1. The reason behind that is quite simple. I had 1 match and I was preparing it, and I kinda got bored and played another few matches just for fun, and I ran into another nice match I want to show you guys, and I couldn't decide which match to show you guys, so I decided to put them up both. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on with it. Alright, so we found this nice looking team to face. It's built by Pokédola, and I see quite some leeway for Simisage in this team. Of course I can use Focus Blast on both the Rampardos and his Regigigas, and the Grass type attack also on Rampardos and on his Golem, which I predict to be his lead in this matchup. I have to be careful of his Butterfree, of course, which will take care of my Simisage quite easily. As for leads, I predicted his Golem as said before, and I started off with Simisage, and let's see how it went. So he started off with Regigigas on the first turn, which is fine by me. Of course I predicted a different mon, but this means I can use Focus Blast, and perhaps he doesn't see it coming at this point, which would be great and mean that my Bananas actually get some work done in this match. So I go for Focus Blast. I do hit. I bring him down like to a quarter, I'd say 35%, and he goes for Thunder Wave, which really sucks. I should have seen this one coming, but I guess I didn't. And this means that in the future it is quite unpredictable to use Bananas, and I can go for Focus Blast, which has a chance to miss. Combined with a chance to get fully parried, it's not a very good future for Bananas right here. So I decided to stay in, do as much damage as I can, and on the first turn, or second turn rather, I get the full power, which demonstrates why I am kinda bummed out here about this. I decided to stay in and just go for another hit, hoping to hit, and I do. So I get at least 1 kill out of this Bananas, but it looks like it's the last we will see of Bananas. He brings in Pika as the Dende, which is not that surprising. I leave my Bananas in for Death Father, and I get a free switch depending on what he brings in. Now he brings in his Golem, which means I can bring in my Big Mac and go for a Scald. He's probably sturdy, and a Scald with a 30% chance to burn would mean that I do get rid of this mon on the first turn. If he goes for Stealth Rocks, something like that, I can defog him, and at least my Big Mac is already in before he gets the rocks up. Now he goes, I activate his weakness policy, which usually is quite scary, but I know I outspeed him and I rather take care of him before I default the rocks away. Now, predicting my opponent to bring in the Dende, he actually goes for a different mon, which was quite surprising. I know that Butterfree has some very good setup mons, so I stay in and I go for Scald, I believe, but he outspeeds me and goes for Sleep Powder, and his Compound Eyes means that he will hit them most of the time. I did decide to stay in here, predicting him to go for another one and hoping for a fast wake up here. This is my second turn of sleep, which is the turn I wake up, and I can go for a Scald, hoping to burn him, but I guess I didn't. And at this point I felt like I made a mistake, especially seeing the damage I've done so far. I should have gone for Defog, which means that my Dodrio can come in and do a lot of damage to this Butterfree here, but I decided to stay in and try to get a Defog off now, and I actually lift the hit and get rid of the rocks on my side of the field at the cost of taking a huge amount of damage on Big Mac, but it can't be helped. I do want to save this Big Mac because it takes care of Rampardos, and I bring in my little Samurai, which is immune to his Psychic type attack, which is really nice that I do bring him in on this turn, and I can go for a Sucker Punch, which means that I get at least some damage on, which is nice because my opponent already is at +2 speed, which means it's very difficult to get a hit off here. I go for Sucker Punch and bring him down really low. I do believe he takes me out here, yeah, with a +2 special attack, very effective hit. Of course my mon won't live that. I can bring in my Dodrio and go for a quick attack. I know I outspeed with the priority, and I can take out this mon without any problem whatsoever. Now he brings in his Rapados, which isn't that scary of a mon. It has an amazing attack stat, but its speed is so low, and it's a mon that I would like to get rid of. And it would be nice if I still had my Simisage here, but I don't, so I have to make do with what I have. He switches out his Rampardos and goes into Dusclops, which is the best switching to my Spoon, I guess. So I have to switch out. I want to keep my Sash intact, knowing that I would be able to sweep the rest of his team with Kadabra. At this point I bring in my Roadrunner, which gets infestated on, but that's fine. I can go for a knockoff here. It's a choice band knockoff. It will do a lot of damage, even to this beast named Dusclops. And he goes for Will-O-Wisp. He misses, which sucks for him, but I do feel that I would have been able to take him out the next turn, even with a burn, but hey, I'm not complaining here. So at this point I'm looking at my opponent's team, and I am pretty sure that my Kadabra can take out the mons at this point with one setup, so I decided to leave my Roadrunner in here and bring in Kadabra, which is very nice. I get a free Calm Mind up because I got Sash. Well, not exactly free, but there's a chance he misses, of course, which would be even nicer, but I guess I don't really need it. I can go for Psychic, take out this Rampardos without any problem, and his last is the Dende, which will go down to a Psychic also. So when we came at the point that he was setting up on with Butterfree, it was a bit scary. I knew I had to sacrifice a mon to get a lot of damage on it and then take it out with priority Dodrio. It was a really nice match. It was a lot of fun, and my opponent also was quite friendly in the chat, which is always nice to see. It makes the game a lot more fun to play. Alright, as mentioned in the intro of the video, we have actually 2 matches in this video, And this is the second match. I'm facing Aero Shadow. Not really sure if I pronounced that right. I'm pretty sure I don't. And looking at my opponent's team, it is a fun team. There are some major threats on his team. He has a double evolution, which on its own is very nice. I find it very hard to get a team where one or even more evolutions work, so I'm very curious if this team is going to work. Redicate is always very dangerous. I have to take care of Redicate as quickly as possible. And Shell Smash is also imminent from that water rock type. What's his name again? And yeah, overall it's a very dangerous team. I would like to get my rocks up. It will hit multiple members of his team, but we'll see how things go. My opponent is going to lead off with Luxray, and I'm going to lead off with Hot Stuff. I want to set up the rocks as fast as possible, so that's the reason why I lead off with Hot Stuff. And he uses Electric Terrain, and I have to be honest, I had to look up what Electric Terrain actually does, and it's quite cool. For those of you who didn't know it before this battle, pay attention, you might learn something in this battle. It actually boosts electric type attacks, and it grounds mons on the field, which means that I have to be really careful with my flying type mons. And yeah, this Luxray might become very dangerous very fast, and of course he uses the fire orb. And look at the damage of that Thunder Fang, and keep in mind that my Hot Stuff is specially defensive, so it's amazing how much damage he can do with it. I decided to go for as much damage as I could on this Luxray, and of course the burn is going to hinder him long term, so I'm going to stay in. There isn't any other mon on my team that I would like to bring in here to take the damage. And yeah, I have to sack a mon right from the start. Now I bring in this Roadrunner. At the time I didn't calc it. I'm very impressed by the amount of damage a Choice Bandit Dodrio can do with a turn in this case. So I was hoping, keep my fingers crossed, that it would actually take out this Luxray. If he gets a chance to attack me, then of course the deal would go down, but the return actually does take the kill here, and that means that one major threat of my opponent's team is gone right here. So he brings in Glaceon, which takes the return far better than any calc said to me. I actually did calc this one, and in my calc I did like 80%, 80 to 90 or something, and it turns out that this Glaceon takes it way better. I'm not really sure if I messed up the calc in some way, or that my opponent is running a different spread of Glaceon. I guess something like that. He takes me out with an Ice Beam, which means that the Rio, which is usually a late game sweeper in my team, is gone, and I have to work around that. So at the moment I'm one mon behind. I bring in my little Samurai, and I can simply go for an Iron Head here and take him out. I actually do score a crit here, but that obviously doesn't matter at all. Now my opponent brings in Barbarical. Barbarical was the name I was looking for earlier. This mon is very dangerous after a Shell Smash or something like that. I bring in my defensive mon, Big Mac. I was predicting the fighting type attack here, and I was hoping to get a burn on this Barbarical at this point. But I believe he switches out, and he does, which means I can go for a Freeze Scald here on the Meow Stick, which takes it like a champ. I do not snag the burn here, which would have been very nice, but I will take any free damage that's given to me. He goes for the Toxic to poison Big Mac here. I go out with U-turn. It's the most effective hit, and at the same time it prevents my Big Mac for taking a lot of damage from the Toxic, and I bring in my little Samurai, which means that my opponent either sacks his mon or has to switch out, and I can go for a knockoff for free at this point. He brings in my Eradicate, his Eradicate rather, and look at the damage he takes from knockoff. It's amazing. I can simply follow it up by the Sucker Punch, but my opponent really predicts this, so I am misplaying this. I'm getting paralyzed here by Thunder Wave, and I switch out, fearing an attack of Eradicate, and I decided to bring in my most defensive mon as he goes for the sword dance at this point, which means that I did misplay this part. I feel that I shouldn't have taken this damage at all. I simply could have kept going for Sucker Punch, and he had to attack me at some point, which means that he would have gone down. But yeah, that's all on hindsight. Hindsight is 2020, as they say, so nothing I can do about it. He brings in Levion, which is his second evolution. I get out of here with a U-turn, and I do believe I bring in my Simisage, my bananas at this point, which takes a lot of damage from X Scissor, and I get off a huge amount of damage with my Hidden Power Ice. In the process I am losing my bananas. Sooner or later I do switch them out and bring in Big Mac, which is able to tank the first hit, but I'm pretty sure he's going to die to the second, but we'll see in a sec. He goes for a Leaf Blade and that takes me out, so I decided to sack my Big Mac here. Looking at my opponent's team, I do feel that my Simisage with its high speed is still of use to me at this point in the battle, and my poison Big Mac isn't that useful at this point, so I bring in my little Samurai, knowing that I can take a few hits from this Levion, and I am banking on the fact that I can get a Sucker Punch off or something in that fashion, and I have to be sure that I don't get paralyzed too much. I go for Sword Dance at this point. If I get it off and I can take out this Levion with a little bit of luck, it means that a Sucker Punch on any other mon will do a lot more, so I decided to sacrifice that one turn in order to bring my attack up to +2, and I take out Levion. Luckily with the Sucker Punch he brings in my Baracle, and I snagged a full para here, which sucks. I lose my little Samurai here, and I do feel that Sucker Punch would have done a lot of damage to this Barbarical if not take it out, so I'm a bit sad about that, but it leaves a little bit of space to my bananas here, which should be the star of this team, and he actually can do some work here. I'm very happy I saved this mon even at 1% of health, and the Giga Drain allows me to live another turn of damage while taking out Meowstic here, and the last mon by Baracle doesn't have any form of priority as turns out in the end, and I can simply take it out with another Giga Drain. So Bananas does do some work in this this battle, and my opponent was really real good sport here. It was a lot of fun, so shout out to him. Thanks for the battle, and I hope you guys enjoyed the last two battles. This brings us to the end of Simisage Goes Bananas rather, and that also means that next week you're gonna have a new series. So just like 3 weeks ago, leave your suggestions down below. If your suggestion wasn't picked the last time, please leave it down again. Perhaps this time you're more lucky and we'll get your mon to build a team. So I'm looking forward to your suggestions. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'm out of here. Later.